From the studios of WFAN in New York and simulcast across the country via the YES Network, downtown Manhattan, step inside Blue Heaven as the mic'd up program for the 28th day of December begins. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Nice to see that the Colts were in a giving mood, as they were. So we started yesterday with the Giants and Jets, both with playoff dreams and hopes. And one remains. We'll get to the one that remains in a little while. We'll begin with the ones who saw their hopes and dreams die yesterday on the Giants Stadium turf. It was nice that the Giants brought all the old Giants back yesterday to close Giants Stadium and brought, some great former Giants back to watch the Giants play what was probably the worst game, or as bad as any game that they have ever played in that building, at that Giant Stadium. I mean, yesterday's effort was, there is not a word, because embarrassing doesn't even capture it. Disappointing doesn't even capture it. It was so bad, it was so disgraceful that I think it will reverberate all the way through the offseason. That's how bad that was yesterday. That building opened up with one of the great football follies of all time. But out of that football folly, the Pisarcik to Zonker amazing handoff with the game over that allowed Herm Edwards to stroll into the end zone. Out of that play came a couple of championships, because that play begat George Young, who begat Ray Perkins, and who begat Bill Parcells. And then we know what happened from there. And along came Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms and et cetera, and so on. But out of that great travesty, out of that mindless act, came a couple of championships. We'll see what comes out of yesterday's disgraceful performance. But let's be honest, for the Giants to go out there and play a team that was banged up, play a team that has had a very tough season, play a team that had nothing to play for, and go out there on a day where it is supposed to be ceremonial, and go out there and close Giants Stadium. And that's their stadium. The Jets are visitors. That is their stadium. They closed Giant Stadium yesterday. The Jets don't close Giant Stadium. The Jets play in Giant Stadium. Giant Stadium closed yesterday. That's their stadium. The Jets have always been visitors. They can be partners in the new stadium. That's fine. They were not partners in the stadium. They were visitors. They were always visitors. That's always been Giant Stadium, and that closed yesterday. For them to go out there and play like absolute dogs, and that's what they did. You cannot, there is no way to even explain away a loss and a game that was played with that lack of effort. To have no fight, to have no heart, to play on that level is mind-boggling. They should take their checks and donate them to charity. Pick a charity. Take a game check and donate it. Maybe then you could look in the mirror at the game they played yesterday. If you're Tom Coughlin, you had to basically sit there last night, look at this game tape and throw up. And wonder, what did I do? Now, this team has been a fraud ever since they fooled all of us the first 5-6 weeks of the season. But they didn't fool me after the San Diego game. And it isn't about the fact, you could be wrong, you'd be right. They didn't fool me after the San Diego game, and I didn't buy into the whole Washington thing. But I never thought they were going to the playoffs. I never thought they would ever play a game where they'd go in the locker room down 24-0 and come out and make the game 31-0 before anybody was back in their seats, and then just sit there and walk around and let people run through arm tackles and not tackle and not block and not cover and drop balls and fumble balls and play like that. The repercussions have to be enormous. Back up the truck. Listen, I know some people have said this somehow invalidates their Super Bowl. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Football is a year-to-year sport. You put away that year. You're never the same team 2 years in a row in the NFL. You're good one year, you're down the next. You're good one year, you're down the next. Man, forget it. Forget it. The idea, that doesn't even make sense. But you know when a run is over, and this team's run that began on the Saturday night when they put in a great fight against an unbeaten Patriot team and lit a spark that carried them through Dallas and through Green Bay and then to one of the great upsets in sports history and to a Super Bowl. That team, which then came back last year and were road warriors and played so well and then, yes, had the Plaxico Burress incident. And the team's never been the same since the Plaxico Burress incident. It's not just about Plaxico because the wide receivers actually did well, but the team's never been the same. And to have that team, which last year was a 1 seed, and yes, they didn't win a championship, but you can't win a championship in the NFL every year. You're not going to do it. But now that group, that core, that group as you knew it, it now has